So I didn't think this build would be playable for me because of the fact that Primite was still very expensive at the time, and also the fact that a lot of the cards were not reprinted. And then I was wrong because Rarity 5 came out, and all of the Primite main cards that you need got reprinted. Barrel, Load. I think those are like the only two relevant ones because realistically, Drill Beam is not that expensive. It's like under $10. So honestly, I didn't think this build was playable, and then next thing you know, I got the whole engine. So we're going to be going over Primite in this video, and then if you guys want to see some combos, I can show you guys some combos in another video. That's like 2 more videos on the channel for Blue Eyes, and then we'll figure out what to do from there for like a series finale. But going over the main deck here, it's actually quite standard, I'd say. We're on 2 copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon. You can play whichever art you like. I'm just playing this art because this is like the first ever copy I've ever like gotten in my entire life. So I like this artwork, and these are like the classic 2 Blue Eyes from like an older set-ish. This is like the tin one, and then yeah, I'm not gonna go over the arts for Blue Eyes, but we have 2 copies there. Triple copies of Sage, 3 copies of Maiden, 3 copies of Wishes, and 1 copy of Neo to like bridge the engines. I'm not like sure about the combos yet, but apparently Neo helps with like some hands. I'm not playing Magnamut as like a search, but if I was, then this would be 10 times better. But if you need room, you can cut this. And then we have the 4 bricks, the Mausoleum, the Roar. Some people play 2 Roar, but I think 1 is fine. And then you have 1 Majesty, the 1 True Light. Same thing with Ultimate Fusion. Some people play Ultimate Fusion. If you want to play Ultimate Fusion, you can. I just feel like you need another Fusion monster if you are playing it. And I'm only playing 1 of each, so I feel like this is fine. And the second effect of Roar rarely comes up for me to Fusion summon because half the time I don't make Tyrant unless I'm going for game. The Primite engine is self-explanatory. You have 3 copies of Barrel, 3 copies of Load, and the 1 copy of Drill Beam. You could play more than 1 Drill Beam, but because of the recycle, I think 1 is fine. And of course, like Barrel and that, like Lordly Load, these cards aren't even expensive anymore, finally, thanks to the reprint. Thank God for the reprint. But, yeah, that is literally it for engine. I'm not playing, like, any, like, other, like, starters, like 1 for 1, Where Art Thou, and none of that. For the non-engine, 1 Thrust for going second, 1 Talents, basically the non-hand trap anti-cards that you play. You play 1 of each of these. You could play 3 Thrust if you're playing a 60 build, but I'm not. And then, of course, the anti-hand trap lineup. And then for hand traps themselves, I'm playing 3 copies of Fuelos, 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 3 copies of Nibiru, 3 copies of Imperm and 1 Veiler, but I want this to be 2 Imperm, 2 Veiler, or like 2 Droplet, 2 Veiler, because the second Veiler comes up a lot with this build because of the synchros that I'm playing. And also, like, you can easily search too. Extra deck for links, 2 and 1, standard. However, if you're playing like mainly Primite, you can easily play 2 of each because sometimes you get to 1 Spears and you can make 2 in some scenarios against like Nibiru, but the second doesn't come up usually. For Synchros, 2 Spirit, 1 Ultimate, 1 Lightstorm, 1 Moonlight, 1 Ancient Fairy for OTKs. It doesn't usually come up, but you can cut this if you want. The 1 Crimson Dragon, the Divine Dragon. Some people play Blazar. I like Divine better because it protects your board and keeps the Ultimate Spear on the end board, which is good against some matches that love to banish, like Malice or anything that like hits my graveyard. It like protects it. Or like if my opponent went to go like Called By, I can bring this out. My Fuelos will resolve, or like whatever, you know what I mean? Like any hand trap I use resolves. And I am playing Croc with the back-to-back. Because these 2 are so good in this deck. Helping you synchro on your opponent's turn is nice. Shout out to Samurai for showing the combo. Because, yeah, I didn't even know this card was playable in Blue Eyes. Because I thought it would be like a generic Cool Tune monster, but it's not. You could play this in literally anything. I was also experimenting this in the Red Dragon Archfiend deck, but the problem is this card does not come up that much in that deck, so I have put it in the Blue Eyes deck, but yeah. And then lastly, the fusions, the 1 Neo and the 1 Tyrant. Typically, you use Neo as like a Grave Negate. You never summon this, and Tyrant doesn't come up a lot for me, but it is mandatory for breaking boards. But that is it. I'm not going to show the side deck just because it's not finished, and it also hasn't changed. So I'm not going to go over a side deck in this video, but if you guys want to see more, let me know in the comments, and I will see you all in the next one for some combos. Peace out.